Hi everyone, welcome back to Together with Kaylee. I am so happy to be sharing a new video with you all, which means a new story to share. And this one is a story of how I went from messed up to blessed up. Before I get started, I just want to say there are some parts of this story that I definitely regret and I wish didn't even happen, but they are a part of the story, so I cannot neglect them. Let's get into the story time because you're about to get to know me. You're about to get all the tea on Kaylee. Growing up, I was a mostly good child. I was obedient. I went above and beyond in school. I was respectful. I liked helping others. There was nothing really alarming about my character that signaled that I needed to make some significant changes in order to get right. But something did happen. When I was a junior in high school, I was invited by my cousin to a little barbecue that she was hosting. And that event changed my life forever. Throughout high school, I was mostly focused on my studies and working so that I didn't have to be a financial burden on my parents. And so I was never really focused too much on socializing, and this sort of kept me from the party scene, from drinking alcohol. Because I felt like I was safe with my cousins, I made the decision at that barbecue to have alcohol for the first time. I am comfortable sharing that there are people in my family who are either alcoholics or abuse alcohol, so this was what I grew up around. There were a lot of basic things that I did not know at 17 about alcohol that I wish I would have known. For example, I didn't know that you should have some food before you drink. I didn't know that you could pace yourself. I didn't know that you could have some water to kind of sober you up a bit. After the small family gathering, my cousin and I found ourselves like addicted to partying and addicted to any environment that could have access to alcohol. This partying and drinking phase lasted for several years. Over those years, a lot of messy, scary, crazy things happened. So let's get a little bit into it. There's no way this video would be too long if I even tried to give y'all more details than what I'm gonna give y'all, but just know that it was bad. From 2014 to 2017, I went out definitely 100 plus times, and nearly all of those times, I will say like 98% of those times, I went out in a way that put my life entirely in danger. I literally could have been dead, kidnapped, raped, ransomed. So many different things could have happened to me because of my irresponsibility, because of my poor decisions. I'm gonna share some specific stories just to give you some insight into the ridiculousness. I remember having a very bad habit of running away from parties without friends, sometimes without even belonging, sometimes even without outerwear. I would literally just randomly decide in the middle of the night, I need to go. That obviously concerned a lot of my friends. Shout out to my friends for holding me down the way that they did. Nobody forced them to be as patient as they were with me, and they are truly a blessing. And all my friends that witnessed me at the worst are still by my side now, and I'm just very blessed. I'm very blessed. And there's a story of my 2016 New Year's. I don't even really remember the night too well. I know that my cousin and I went to one party and we insisted on continuing the night, so we ended up at another party. We consumed so much alcohol that we could not make it back home. We were somewhere in the Bronx, stranded, and I vividly remember being in a parking lot asking them for a hotel room. And this just goes to show how drunk I was. I was begging, literally begging the parking attendant to please give me a hotel room. I just could not believe that I was so drunk and so disoriented that I couldn't even gauge who I was speaking to, that I wasn't in the right type of establishment to be requesting what I was asking for. The last story I'm gonna share is the worst one. This one was really hard for me to find out about the next day when I was sober, because I have no memory about what I'm about to share. This was a college spring weekend and I went to visit a friend, and the very first night that we went out, I somehow completely lost all my friends. I'm gonna start backwards. I woke up in the morning in a house surrounded by white people. And there were people doing some drugs that I couldn't identify. There were some people smoking things from different pipes. I was in an environment that I did not recognize, surrounded by people that I did not know. And all I remember doing was like waking up like super slowly and looking around. And as soon as I noticed that I was in an unfamiliar environment, I started like feeling for my phone and trying to like be as subtle as possible. And then one of them just said like, oh, if you're looking for your phone, you don't have it on you. And I was like, okay, please say more. And this is when I found out that they picked me up from a gas station. They told me that they stopped for gas, and while their back doors were open, I sneaked into their car and asked them for help getting back to my friend's college. They told me that they took me to a college and that I didn't recognize it and they didn't feel comfortable leaving me there, so that they took me back home with them. I was pretty mind blown by the night that I experienced that I had no idea I was going through. Anything on earth could have happened to me that night, and I somehow found myself in safety. After many versions of these type of stories happened to me, I still found myself repeating the same decisions and the same type of situation. As these moments kept on happening and layering up in my life, I ended up reaching a point of shame and guilt, like immense shame and guilt. I felt guilty for even having life still. I began questioning why God would keep me safe after all my ridiculous mistakes, and I kept feeling unworthy of living life. I felt like everything that I had lived through was enough for me to like be dead and gone. All that guilt and shame that I was feeling became a huge block in my relationship with God. I distanced myself because I didn't feel worthy of His love, of His protection. He never stopped protecting me. He never judged me for my mistakes, but I felt unworthy, and so I pushed Him away. The guilt and shame that I felt was so heavy and overwhelming that I never felt strong enough to confront it truly. Instead, I began brushing it off and telling myself I'm not that same person. I don't make those same mistakes. I'm not capable, after experiencing everything that I experienced, to repeat the same decisions that I once did. And I left it at that. And so the problem was never truly dealt with. Throughout my senior year of college, I had a lot of reasons to feel extremely blessed. I had an internship that I desperately needed. I had a nurturing relationship, my car, a well-paying job, but there was still an underlying level of unfulfillment and disappointment in my life, and I never identified it at that time. One of the most unpleasant aspects of my past is thinking about the people that would judge me or that could judge me. And so in my senior year of college, when I made the same mistake again, and God gave me multiple opportunities to confront it, I avoided it because I was afraid of being judged. I was not confronting things as I normally would because there was a part of me that I was trying to hide and to ignore and pretend didn't exist. Feeling heavy emotions like that will definitely change how you present yourself, how you act, how you behave, how you make decisions. Because I wasn't being myself, I wasn't treating my friends as I normally would. I wasn't respecting myself and those around me as I normally would. Everything about my day-to-day life experience was completely overshadowed by this dark and heavy energy. What changed everything for me was my relationship ending. These were my two gut reactions. I was out of breath, completely shocked and stunned, and then I decided to download the Bible. The breakup opened the door for breakthrough. I began focusing all my energy on understanding what I needed so that I could heal. Before, when I felt broken, guilty, and embarrassed, I was questioning God. I was asking God, why? Why would you save me? Why would you protect me? Why do you still care for me? But this time, I was receiving His grace. I was receiving His love, His mercy, His healing. Over the months, as I continued reading the Bible and reflecting and journaling, I began to have a lot of clarity and understanding. In November 2019, I was up late in the middle of the night, and I remember hearing a voice, and it honestly felt like my subconscious, because it was such like a low tone. And it felt like it was in my voice, but this was totally the Holy Spirit. And the voice said, "I'm going to church tomorrow." And I was like, what? I didn't question it too much, and I left it at, I guess I'm going to church tomorrow. The next day, Sunday morning, I made my way to my local church, which is less than a block away from me, and I was received with so much love. Before I even made it through the front doors, I already got like 5 hugs, and I was in tears. It's the beginning of my relationship with my church that also began my rapid spiritual growth. My local church encouraged me to do a lot of healing and transformative things in my personal life, in my family life, in so many aspects. I began reaching new levels of faith, transformation, and maturity once I also started congregating with Elevation Church and Transformation Church. Being a member of all these 3 churches has allowed me to gain a well-rounded spiritual foundation. Through Transformation and Elevation Church, as well as my local church, I'm also learning about what it means to be a disciple. If you don't already know what that word means, a disciple is someone who is a follower, a student of a particular person or master. So as a disciple, I am a loyal follower of Christ. In the Bible and now, God sends out His disciples on assignments. Different disciples will have different assignments, and one disciple will be given many assignments. One of my assignments through Together with Kaylee is to share with you the abundant blessings and wisdom that God shares with me. And that's why I tell you about all these stories, because if there's anything that I gained from it, there's possibly something for you to gain from it too, without you going through the ridiculousness that I went through. And so it is my hope that together we can learn, together we can grow, together we can share blessings and be a blessing onto others. My next assignment, by the way, is to share a video with you all on how to be a better friend. And let me just say, I don't think that I'm the bestest friend ever. And it turned out that as you grow up and mature, you're also supposed to like grow up as a friend and mature as a friend. And I had a season of learning how to do this, and now I'm ready to share with you. I hope you enjoyed getting to know me a little bit better. I know that what I shared today wasn't all cute and inspiring, but it's a part of my story, and I'm grateful that I'm not living the same life that I used to be living. And I encourage you to reflect and think about the decisions that you're making and evaluating whether they are reflective of who you really are and who you really want to be. If you have a similar story to mine, or if you feel like there may be any advice or wisdom that I can share with you because of what you're going through, please feel free to reach out to me. I will be happy to share with you from the lessons that I've learned. Please know that you don't have to go through any guilt or shame alone. And if you don't want to go through it with a partner or with a friend, you can always go through it with God. And honestly, that would probably be the most pleasant experience anyways. He will never judge you or shame you for your decisions. The people around you may, your parents may, but God just wants a relationship with you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my next video on how to be a better friend. See you in the next video.